In this section, we're going to talk about a few different things. The first thing is mean, median, and mode, something you've definitely heard about before, so I'm just going to breeze through it. Here's some definitions for you. So the mean is the average of a certain number of numbers. So you add up all the numbers together and divide by the number of the total numbers. The most important thing for you to remember is that the mean is denoted by this symbol called x bar, which I'll show you is important later. The median of n numbers is the middle number when the numbers are written in order. So if they're not in order, you can't find the median. And if there's an even number of numbers, the median is just the average of the two middle numbers. The mode is the number that shows up most frequently. There can be one mode, no mode, or more than one mode. We're going to look at one example of air hockey, and I mean, look at how much fun they're having. Definitely not as much fun as we're having watching this video, but looks like they're still having a pretty good time. The winning scores are shown here. We'll write them in order. So 11, cross them out as you go along so you don't forget which ones you've done. 12, 13, 13, 1 14, 4 15s, and 17. Okay, we're going to start by finding the median, mode, and range of the data set. We can find mean and standard deviation at the same time using a calculator. I'll show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and find median first. Here's an even number of numbers. So to find median, we have to take the two numbers, add them together, and divide by 2. That's 29 over 2. We can leave it as 29 over 2 or 14.5. That's the median. The mode is the number that shows up most often. Here, that's obviously the number 15. And the range is just how far the data set travels. The range is from 11 to 17. And the way we show that is by saying it's 11 to 17. So what we do is 17 minus 11, and the range is actually 6. So we know it's 11 to 17, so we take the top number minus the bottom number, 17 minus 11, and we get 6. To find mean and standard deviation, which is something else we'll discuss after finding it, we're just going to use a calculator. So get out calculator, press stat to enter data values, and edit, so stat edit. And we're just going to enter all the numbers. It doesn't matter what order. We're just going to enter them all into L1. Of course, to find mean or average, you can just add up all these numbers and divide by 10. That's one way of finding it. However, I think it's much more sophisticated to do it this way, and it saves us time when we're finding standard deviation as well. So once you enter all the numbers into stat, L1, you're going to go back to stat and calculate one variable statistics, because we only entered one variable, right? So we're going to calculate one variable statistics and run it. It gives us all this stuff. Remember I said earlier that we care about x bar. That's another way to say mean. So the mean for this data set is 14. The average score is 14. The other piece of information that we care about is right here where it says sigma x. And this lower, so we already looked at capital sigma, that's up here, but we care about lower sigma, lowercase sigma. So sigma x is the standard deviation, and here the standard deviation is 1.673. We're going to write that down. So mean is 14, and standard deviation is 1.673. And that's the answer for all of. But what is standard deviation? So when you're looking at a data set and you find the mean of the data set, if it's a normal data set, most of them look something like this. The mean of the data set is right in the middle, right? That's the average of all the numbers. And then according to that average, most of the data will fall in this area. So most of the data will fall within 68% of one standard deviation of the average. So what that means is standard deviation calculates the area to the left and to the right of the average that should contain about 68% of the data. Of course, not all curves are normal, and this will change, but most of the if the average is a certain amount, then most of the data should fall within one standard deviation. So what we calculated, 1.6, we're saying that the average is 16, the average was 14, and we're saying most of the points will fall within 1.6 to either side of 14. So 12.4 to 15.6, which is true because our most popular set was, most popular number was 15. Question B, we're not going to actually work through all of it. It just says the winning score in the next game is an outlier 3. What that means is this outlier is nowhere near the average of the scores. It's some number that's really far away from a standard deviation of the average. So what it wants you to do is recalculate the new mean, median, mode, and range standard deviation using this outlier 3 so you can see what happens to these values.